Hi guys, welcome to the photography show 2021. Again, I can't believe that we're doing it online again this year. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Mandy Dhillon, and my talk today is the fundamentals of video editing. I am going to talk a little bit about me, why I became a videographer, the kind of equipment I use, my setup, and then we'll go straight into the editing from there. Okay, so I decided I wanted to become a wedding videographer just over 12 years ago, and the idea behind it was that I actually wanted to spend some more time at home. So I thought if I did the odd few weddings of a weekend, it would give me, Monday to Fridays to spend time at home with my children, who were very small at the time, and just edit around them. I had no idea what it will intake. I've never had a video camera. I had no experience. So I know I needed to gain that. So first things first was I decided to see if I can become an editor and maybe get some video companies to give me some work. So obviously I did what I did. I had to make some phone calls to see if I could get into the industry. But I just got loads of rejections, like, no, it's not a place for a woman, that I wouldn't last 5 minutes, there's no way I can do that. And, and I even had somebody just laugh at me when I said I wanted to become a wedding videographer. So I knew I weren't going to get the support from the men in the industry at that time, and there was no Asian females or any females I could turn to at that particular time. So I knew this was a road I was going to go down by myself. So I decided I needed to find somebody who was getting married who would let me film their wedding to get some experience. At that particular time, I was spray tanning clients and I had my own beauty business. And I remember a client telling me that she was actually getting married. So she was booked in for the Monday to have a spray tan. And when she came in, I asked if she was having her wedding filmed. And she decided that she was only going to have a photographer, as she couldn't afford the videographer as well. So I asked if I turned up, whether she would let me film it. And she wouldn't lose anything. I wouldn't charge her. And so she agreed. So literally that night I went home, did a bit of research. I ordered a camcorder, a light and a tripod. And that's how I literally got started. I turned up to her wedding. I filmed her wedding as I could. I then realised I had no idea how to edit. So I researched that through the internet. I found lots of videos that I could go refer to learn on YouTube, and I decided that Premiere Pro was the way forward. And so I literally taught myself absolutely everything I needed to know. And the rest is history. I have now filmed weddings all around the world, India, Thailand, Europe, and I absolutely love what I do. I started my business with one camera, one tripod and one light. And if I sat there and thought about how I needed, at least 2 cameras, and I needed audio equipment and I needed specialist lighting, I don't think I'd ever would have got started. But over the 12 years, I've managed to accumulate and buy little purchases here and there, and get my equipment sorted. So at the moment, I work now on Canons, Mark 4s. I've got some Mark 3s. I do mix it in with the Sony A7s, and I've got a Sony NX70 and a Sony NX80. I've got GoPros and Legrias. I've got a DJI Rollin S as my stabilizer. I've got tripods, monopods, lights, light stands, audio equipment. I have wireless mics. I've got the H6. I've got Sony TX650s, and that's what I'm recording this audio on at the moment. I've got some Yamaha C24s. I've got a drone. I've got radios to communicate with the team, and I've got a number of lenses, just to name a few: 70-200, 24-70, 16-35 and 100mm macro. Okay, so before you even go out to get the footage, it's really important that you prepare yourself before you leave. One of the things that you need to do is make sure that you have your cards prepared. If you're working on one camera, it's not so bad. You can label your cards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put them in the correct order so that when you do come down to downloading your footage, you know that, the preps were on card 1, the ceremony was on card 2, etc., etc. You don't really want to be wasting time looking through your cards and wondering which card you put in your camera first, etc., etc. When you're working multi-cameras, the best way I do it is I colour coordinate the cards. So I have, say, 5 cards that are a set of pink, so pink 1 to pink 5. I have yellow set, a blue set, a green set, etc. And each camera that I use on the day is one colour is allocated to that camera. So if I've got one camera which is my safe camera, and it's green 1 at the beginning of my safe camera, towards the end of the night I would have gone to green 2, green 3, green 4, and I would carry on just with the greens in that camera. My zoom lens camera then would have a different colour card in there, and that's how I'd work. So when I got home and I was downloading my footage, I know all my green cards were my safe camera, or my pink cards, for example, was my zoom camera, or my red cards were my wide camera. And when you come to editing it, it just makes your life absolutely 100% easier, because you know where everything is and how to find it. You can put each colour on each timeline once you're editing it, and it just makes your life so much more easier. Before you obviously go out, make sure that all your cards are formatted in the office. What I tend to do is, before I format any cards, is that I will play the card back in my camera. I will double check that footage has definitely been backed up before I actually format it. I never ever format a card on site. If I've accidentally got a card that's full, I will just put it to one side. I will ignore it until I get back to the office and check what's on there. Clean your lenses, obviously, and make sure you put a card ready in your camera so that when you go to your shot, you'll go to your wedding, you're prepared straight away. Also, remember to go with batteries that are 100% charged. There's nothing worse than turning up to a wedding and realizing that batteries are like 50% or need charging. I have made this lovely little case. It cost me about £20-ish, something like that. It's just a toolkit box from B&Q, which I've ripped out the insides, and then I've just cut some card and then velcroed down some extension leads and all my chargers. It just means that all my chargers are together in a beautiful little case. All I need to do is get to my shoot, pull the case open, and put one plug into the wall, and all my chargers are literally ready for me to use on the day. I used to have them all in a bag. Wires used to get tangled, and it was just a complete nightmare. This saves me lots of time. Okay, so filming on the day, you'll obviously pick your own little style. I like to literally film everything really naturally. I don't like to stop the event to get any particular shot. It all has to be filmed naturally. And I do like to just blend into the background. I feel like I just get more natural shots when I film in this way. So the first thing you'll do when you get to your shoot is your bride and groom preps. I used to film these on multiple cameras, but I tend now to just do the prep shots on one body, and I do like to switch between the 3 lenses. I switch between my 100mm macro, my 70-200 and my 24-70. I just find it easier to be on one camera and one card, so that when I'm sticking it on my timeline, it's already set up in the order that I need it it needed to be in, as opposed to on multiple cameras. So this is my typical ceremony setup. I'm talking about an Indian wedding here. You can see that the Guru Granth Sahib, which is the holy book that the bride and groom will walk around, is situated at the front, and you will normally have the Kirtan singers sitting to one side, and I've literally got a number of cameras that I will jot around the place. First, at number one, is my Sony NX80, literally my safe camera. Also records audio just in case the for some reason I don't get the audio. I have a little camera called the Legria, which is a bit like a GoPro. It just films really wide. It's really small and petite, and it can just hide right in front of the book and just get some beautiful wide angle shots of where the bride and groom are sitting. I have a Canon on a 16-35, also facing the bride and groom. I have a Canon 2470 on the Kirtan singers, and I have a Canon 7200, which is what I'm working on and getting some detailed shots. And also I have a Rollin S with my Sony on, which I will get my stabilizer shots. So that's typically how I would tend to work. It's not so much different to an English wedding. Maybe, I might not have as many cameras at the front. I'd probably have a camera at the back, but it's generally kind of the same setup. Dance floor footage, my typical setup is right in front of the DJ on the opposite side of the dance floor. I will have I will have 3 tripods up. One will have my Canon 7200, which I will go to get close-up shots of the families. I will have a Sony NX80, which is going to get a wide angle shot of the whole of the dance floor. I will also have my Rollin S, which I'm going to go in and out the dance floor with. And I'll also have another Canon set up on the opposite side, where I'll have a wide lens put on that so that I can get as much of the dance floor on the opposite side. Audio, I tend to get in different ways. I have a H6 that I use in 2 different ways. I can either mount it somewhere close to a speaker, or sometimes I will go directly into a feed, whether that's through a DJ. I have some Sony TX650s. Those I will use to get my speeches, as well as the Yamaha C24s. The Sony also is, if you've got loads of speeches, what I tend to do with my Sony is I will tape that to a mic, say for example the mic that the speakers are speaking through, and when they're passing that mic around, it will get their audio. So that's another way that you can capture audio. When you come back and you've got all your footage, it's very important that you obviously back it up. I back it up loads of times. I actually make 4 different versions of it. I back up on my PC. I back up on 2 different hard drives. One hard drive will stay with me in the office, and the other hard drive will go off site when it's full. But I do also have a Synology 5-bay backing up system, which is linked to my computer, which every time I'm editing, every time I'm doing a wedding, it just keeps being backing up onto those hard drives into there. Okay, so first things first, you need to rename all your folders and your clips. I like to rename these to whatever card I was using. So for example, green 1, I would rename the folder green 1, and in the clips I would highlight all the clips, right click the top click and rename it green card 1. And then the computer will automatically rename the rest, and numbering them 1, 2, 3, etc. Once you've renamed everything, everything's in order, you know where everything is, then it's literally going straight to your editing software. And for today's training, we're going to talk about Premiere Pro, but to be fair, they're not that different. They're all kind of the same. Okay, so importing footage, a few ways that you can do this. The first way is you can go into the footage box on the left hand side and right click it, and click onto import, and go into your computer and find the clips that you'd like to import, highlight the ones that you want and press open, and they will come over straight away and it'll import them there for you. Or the other way would be if you just go directly to your computer, find the actual footage that you want to bring in and just drag over the whole of that folder, and that will also import your footage for you. Right, so when you start importing lots of footage, you will start to notice that your project timeline will be looking really messy, and what you need to do is have that in order. So put things into folders. So at the bottom you will see a little folder where you can add bins. If you click onto it, there you go, new bin. You click onto that, what you'll do is you'll put a new bin into your project line, and you can name that bin. Let's say, for example, this bin we are going to rename that. We'll rename bin 1 in footage, and what I'll do is any footage that I've got, I will drag into that bin. So now what happens is all your footage will just be under one tab, and your timeline will start looking a little bit more neater. Again, you would do the same again to add another bin. You would then say call this music, and any music or audio clips you can drag into this, and automatically, there you go, you'll see now your project is looking a little bit more easier to work with. If you need to find footage or music, you can go to the relevant folder. It just makes life a little bit more easier. So once your footage has been imported, you need to drag it onto your timeline. So just go into the relevant folder of the footage that you want to drag in. Highlight the clips that you want and just drag them over to your timeline. And then they're ready to edit. Right, the first tool that we're going to speak about is the little arrow, and it's called the selection tool. And literally, basically what that does is when you've got your footage on your timeline and you've got that tool, you can literally drag your footage anywhere. You're literally selecting your footage and moving it around. Okay, so the next one we're going to speak about is a razor tool. I use this one quite a lot, and what that does is once you've got a clip on your timeline, you can cut the clip anywhere you want once you've selected this tool, and it's very handy. Okay, so this one is called the Rate Stretch tool, and it literally stretches the footage for you. So here's a clip here, and you can see that this clip is about 30 seconds long, and I can grab it with my stretch tool, make it longer, which means it will slow the footage down. And if you have a look, it will tell you there that it's 12.77% slower running than when it was originally put onto the clip. Track select tool literally does what it says. If you've got your footage on a timeline and you've got this one selected, you can literally select a number of clips and drag them and move them. So here you can see whatever is in front of it, it moves for me. It's very handy for when you're moving, say, parts of your day. For example, if I've had to film the outside of the venue before I've gone in to do the preps, I need to swap those clips around. So this is a great tool just to drag all of them and move them over to one side. Okay, so ripple delete. So basically what that does is it gets rid of any gaps. So when you're editing and there is a gap between your edit and you just want to move everything across, instead of having to select them all and move them over, you can just delete the gap. So here's your gap, right click with your mouse, press onto your ripple delete, and it just throws everything from the right hand side of your timeline over to the left hand side and sticking it all together. Okay, one of the other things that you can do is speed up your footage. This is great for when you're doing your highlights. Some clips you want to make them look a little bit faster depending on the type of music that you're editing to. So how you do this is you get your clip, you would right click on your mouse, and you'll have an option come up where it says speed and duration. And what you want to do is make that number bigger than 100. So for example, it is now 100. Let's just say we'll make that 300. It will shorten the clip, but it will speed it up when you're playing it back. Reversing footage is very handy because sometimes you might want to film your footage backwards. For example, I like to do a shot where the bride will put her hands around the groom's neck, and the end shot is that her new engagement or the wedding ring is in focus. I will use my 100mm macro, but I will reverse the shot on the day. So I will get her to hold him around the neck. I will have that ring in focus, and then I'll get her to reverse her hands away from his neck. When I come to editing it, I will reverse it so it actually looks like her hands are going around his neck and that the ring is completely in focus for when I need it to be in focus. So here you can see here is a little girl and she's walking forward. What you want to do is choose this clip, right click the mouse, speed and duration, and then here you got reverse the speed. Click onto that, press OK, and then what you'll see then is when you play it back, you can see it's reversed the clip for you. Seeing certain tracks. When you start downloading footage on your timeline, when you work in multiple cameras, you will notice that the only footage that you can see on your timeline is the footage that's on the top. So here, whatever is in track video 3 is what we're seeing playing on there. But when you want to check what's playing in video 2, we just unhighlight the eye there, and now whatever's playing is in track 2. Again, if I get rid of that there, you will now notice it's whatever footage is in track 1. Right, using transitions. This is a softer, it's a nicer way to go from one scene to another scene, and your editing suites will have quite a few options. Here you can see some clips I've just put together, and what we're going to do is just decide on what kind of transition you want between them. So in your effects box you'll see that you have got some options there, and you will just click onto them and just find some. Cross dissolve is the one that we tend to use the most, and all you need to do is grab it and drag it over, and there's loads of funky ones that you can use. Again, just play around with them and see which ones you like. So as you can see here, when you do play it back, there you go, that's how cross dissolve looks. And you've got one here which is quite funky, and then you've got this one here too. So again, depending on what you're editing is depending on which one you would actually want to use. Cross dissolve in all the clips. I tend to use cross dissolve a lot, to be fair. So an easier way to do it is once you've got all your clips together, you would just literally get the selection tool and you just select the whole of the clips, go to the top, find sequence, apply default transitions, and you'll see there, every single one of them has then got cross dissolve over them. Okay, so Puralize is amazing. It's if you definitely do multiple cameras, I would definitely 100% recommend that you purchase this software. It basically, instead of you having to physically try to work out which, your camera, sync your cameras up on your timeline, it literally does it for you. You would throw your whole of your footage into the into Puralize. It will listen to the audio on each clip and it will literally sync them all up. You then import it back into your editing suite and you're literally ready to edit. Once you've edited it, you've obviously got to decide on how you're going to produce your end product, and there's a few options to do this. I give my clients 4 options. There is a online upload which they can download on their side. There's a USB stick. They can have Blu-ray discs, and yes, if they still want, I will still burn them some DVDs. For my online upload, I use a company called MediaZilla. I just love the way it, you can create a menu so that when you send the link to your clients, it just looks like they're watching, a Blu-ray disc. They have a menu where you can have the ceremony set as a different tab, the party set up as a different tab. It's just the presentation on it is amazing. So it's something that you might want to look into. Thank you so much for listening to my talk. If you aren't listening to this live and you have got a few questions for me, feel free to send me an email on info@vid-ego.com. You are more than welcome to send me a text message or a WhatsApp on 07961 318829. And let's hope the next photography show is back at the NEC and we'll get to see each other in person. Thank you again so much. See you soon.
Right, I think I've got a few here now. So, have you ever used a magic lantern on camera 444? Have I ever used a magic lantern? Chris, no, not on the Mark IV. So I've got no advice on that one, I'm afraid, for you. Give it. I can't imagine it being a problem. So I guess just give that one a go. What we got here? Hi, Mandy. I'm a photographer responding to video. How do you find the camera settings differ? Charlotte, so you're asking, as a photographer, you want to expand into video, and how if I find the camera settings differ. Not really. I know a lot of photographers that eventually do get into video. No. To be fair, it's easier to go from video to photo. So to go from photos to videography, just going by your normal settings, and just literally give it a go. Dave, oh, hang on. Oh. Got that. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thanks, Barry, for your little comment. And Trevor, thank you. Rahul, thank you very much for your comment. You, Jill. What do you mic up and what do you use as backup audio? Jay, you've asked. Mic up, I'm talking, when I mic up, I only mic up the speakers. So that could be any other speeches. It could be if there's a religious ceremony happening and I need to get correct audio. Background audio is literally, I tend to get the whole wedding as a background audio, and I get separate mic on audios. That way I can just mix the two together and I still got the ambience of the room, especially I guess if it's the party bit, and I've still got clear audio of the main speakers when I need it. So I kind of mix both, but on always try to get both. Always try to get mic, clip-on audio when speeches, but always get the background sounds from another device. Where are we next, Scott? Thanks. Scott, nice comment. Thank you. I'm glad I've given you some ideas there. I'll just refresh the page and see if there's anything else coming through. Scott, you've asked, how do I manage bad weather and kit? I tend not to film if it's raining. I won't take my camera kit outside. If it's wind we're talking about, you can get little wind protectors for all your mics so that you don't get that big whistle of the wind going past. But yeah, don't film if I don't even go out if it's raining a teeny weeny bit. Cameras obviously worth so much money, you don't want to damage them, so just don't film in bad weather. You can actually get, I have got with one of my cameras a rainproof cover, but it's just too much faffing on a day of a wedding to think about putting it on and taking it off. So stay away from bad weather. Let's have a look what else we got. What do you recommend? Adobe Premiere Pro? So Claire's asked, would I recommend Adobe Premiere Pro when starting out? Is it part of the Creative Cloud package? Yes, it is part of the Creative Cloud package, Claire. Premiere Pro is just what I started on. There's loads. There's editings you can get now which don't cost a penny. I think it's just best to do a bit of research and have a think about what you prefer. I've just always, in fact, if I did start with Final Cuts, I'm not sure if I would have ever, just because I started off with Premiere Pro. And I think it's because I had a Sony camera and it was kind of, sorry, he had a Sony laptop at that time, and it was kind of linked with a free version of Premiere Pro on there, so I just stuck to using that. But they're all very similar, all very easy to use, and whichever one you decide to go for, you'll probably end up sticking with forever. It's just a nightmare when you're editing to swap from one editing suite to another halfway through a year. So decide what you want to stick to and just go for that. What we got? So Rob's asked, Rob said that he's missed some of the talk earlier and he wanted to know what audio recording equipment I use. So I've got Sony TX650s, really small little mics, and they can be, I use them like to stick into pockets for speeches. The other great thing about them is because they're quite small and thin, I do sellotape them around a microphone. If there's more than a few speeches and I know they're talking to a microphone, they can pass that microphone on and I've still got audio being collected. I have a H6, which I normally get the background sounds, and that could be either two ways. One, I could put it right in speaker if it's like dance floor, or if the DJ is nice enough and lets me use his mixer, I will connect into his mixer too. That's really my main ones. I have got some Yamaha C24s, and they come with like a little clip-on mic, which I use again for speeches. So I just kind of mix between the Sonys and the Yamahas. Michael's asked, he said, great information. And did I mention anything about backlighting? I tend to film naturally as possible. So if I'm doing preps, I tend to put my bride and groom in front of daylight window. I do have lights and I do have light stands, but the less harsh lights I can use, the better. I tend to work with the photographers a lot. So depending on their little setup, I kind of go along with that. I don't stress too much about the lighting. Again, open curtains and blinds, try to switch off the normal lights, and you can normally get some great footage. Leanne, hello. Great to see you listened. What else have we got? Did you mention lighting? You didn't mention lighting? Do you bring your own, or do you rely on the venue? Again, I've got another one here about lighting, and whether I rely on the venue or do I take my own. I have got my own. Oh, I don't even know what they're called. I might have one more minute. It's these. So it's, don't know whether you can see them. Oh, wrong way. That's what I tend to use. A few of those set up around the venue. Dead handy, just literally on some light stands. But again, especially if it's a dark venue, you need to obviously stick a few of those up. What else we got? Amanda says, brilliant, thanks, Mand. Yeah. Leanne's asked, when I'm filming a wedding, do I use a monopod on a roaming camera or handheld? Okay, so I kind of mix between the two. So if it's if it's a Canon I'm using, then I'm on a mono, because I just need to make sure that the footage is still. I have got a Sony camera, and the 7S, and the stabilizer in that is absolutely amazing. So that I literally will have just around my neck, walk around, and I can just pick that up and press record, and it just stabilizes the actual footage for me. So yeah, it depends. Sony, you don't need anything, just handheld is perfect. Canon, I haven't tried the new one with the built-in stabilizer yet. Maybe when wedding season kicks off again, I'll give it a go. But for now, the Canons that I have got, I use a monopod for those. And again, obviously, I've got the Rollin S as a stabilizer with the Sony on. So any movement shots that I need, I normally go onto my stabilizer. Amelia's asked, do I color grade my final edit? Again, I try my best to capture it naturally as possible, so there's no messing around when it comes to my editing. So yeah, generally tweak here and a tweak there to color grade it, just so it kind of looks like how kind of looks like you want it to look. But generally I tend not to. Sometimes though, mixing the Sony and the Canon camera together, you kind of get a little bit of a green tint to the Sony, so you might have to kind of play with it to match it with the Canon colors. So things like that. Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Rob said very useful. Thank you, Rob, for watching. Just having a look to see if anything else is coming through. Got loads of lovely comments about people who watched. I'm glad they're interested. Well, so I wonder how everybody's 2021 is looking, considering 2020 was a complete and utter write-off. I'm hoping you guys have still been able to pick that camera up and just play with it. I've had a few weddings in lockdown which have been absolutely lovely to film. Couple completely madly in love, and you can see it in the film. But yeah, but it's just been horrendous, really. And other than the weddings are filmed, I've not really picked up my camera in between. I've got my first wedding now in 2021 is, when is it? It's in May. I have confirmed with the couple that they still wanted to go ahead with it. And the rest have all moved June onwards. So I'm hoping lockdown finishes in June. What minimum spec computer would you recommend for editing? Thanks for your session. Oh, Alex, you've asked me a technical question about spec on computers. I have no idea. It sounds silly. I literally go to a company called PC World. They are specialists or something they're called. And they actually build computers. So you can just literally phone them up and let them know what you're doing and the kind of footage you'll be using, whether it's, HD, 4K. And they will put a package together for you and tell you exactly what you need, so that the computers run smoothly. The computer I got at home that they built for me is like a double screen, so I have my editing on one side and I have the screen on the other side. Once I've edited, I can see it straight away. But yeah, really handy. What are they? PC specialists. That's it. Specialists. Give them a shout. And yeah, they'll ask you loads of questions. In fact, if you go on site, there's like a list of editing ones that they actually pre-do, and they go as far as even doing laptops, because I do edit on the road with a laptop, and it's just easier. What else have we got? I think the great thing I think I've learnt over these, I don't know, 12, 13 years of me filming is not to stress over the technical side of it. I'm not technical one little bit. I just know if I press certain buttons on my camera, it lightens it or blurs out the background. I now don't stress over all those little things, like absolutely knowing everything. As long as when you're recording that footage is looking absolutely amazing, then there isn't an issue. So just don't stress over the small stuff, is what I'd say. Yeah, don't stress over the small stuff and just give it a go. If I didn't give it a go, if I really sat down and thought about it 14 years ago, I don't think I would have done it. But because I didn't put that much thought into it, I didn't know how to edit. I just decided to record, and I learned along the way. And I bought my equipment slowly, bit by bit. It just didn't seem as seem that bad of an investment. But a lot of people nowadays think that they need audio equipment, they need lighting, they need cameras, they need tripods, they need monopods, and they need everything. But honestly, you don't. Just you can start with one camera, one tripod, one light. Going to refresh and see if there's anything else coming through. Doesn't look like there's anything else. Oh, can't wait to get back out there and just pick that camera up and start being creative again. I think 2021 towards there is just going to be absolutely crazy with bookings. But I don't know, lockdown has taught me a number of things. Maybe I don't need to do as many weddings as I have been doing. I've survived this year. Last year, we're not so much coming in. I'm hoping though that the next time we do this session, it's going to be live again. And then when we're there, I'll probably go, oh my God, I wish it was online again. The nerves went just before you about to go on stage. Don't think there's any more questions coming in, guys. Right then, I'm gonna wrap up, as I say, and leave you guys to it, and hopefully get to see you at the next photography show. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.